seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And relief.
Okay, the Relief Act. This was kind of interesting because it came out of nowhere, and it's good because it's state money. So let me get this one up here.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay, hang on. Let me get this thing up. Which one is it? Okay, there it is. Okay, the Relief Act is an interesting piece of state legislation because we don't usually get state money. So when Governor Hogan did his whole, his version of the CARES Act, I think I think I know who did it, but a state senator, I think from Prince George's County, included $7 million for the local workforce boards. There are only two mentions of what this money is for. The first mention is how it's going to be allocated, and that's by the adult funding formula. And then what the money is for is literally just this paragraph that, the funds were to engage and connect and all this residents to employment, including youth. And they can, putting youth in summer programs and subsidized employment, also focusing on adults, ex-offenders, and other populations who are in need of reemployment assistance. So what we've asked for to use the money for, and it's $267,400. We want to use that for 48 participants with 218,700 in training, 22,000 in support, which is when somebody's in training, we pay them a $15 a day stipend to offset the expenses of training. And then we want to use the 10% de minimis admin rate. The timeline for this money is starting a week ago or a few days ago and going through June 30th, 2022. So this is not, we owe money. It's not federal money, it's state money. And the only rules on it are this definition right here. So it's a great opportunity for us, but I also wanted to keep it in what we know and not really take any risks by doing something, strange with the money. So we want to go ahead and put it in training. We see some opportunities, particularly like with the ex-offenders and some other populations that we have that don't necessarily, people in jail don't really fit with the WIOA customer choice mechanism and the eligible training provider list. This gives us some opportunities there to do some training, with that population. And it does give us some money for, some youth that we'll be able to, work with this summer and through the year. So it's a great opportunity for us. Again, it's something that we don't usually see. We don't usually get much state money at all. So it's really nice to be thought of, and hopefully this will, get us more on the map in the state level for times like this when it would be beneficial to have a little extra money. So what we need is, if you have any questions, I'll field those. When you're ready, we need a motion to accept this money and put it into this this budget category.
Mr. Chairman, I would offer a motion to execute this plan as described.
Tyler, can
second.
we hold a minute and see if there's some discussion?
Yeah, could
Hold
I
on
just,
a moment? I'm sure there's a little bit of discussion, Tyler.
I just have a quick question, Dan, and that is, why did you select this particular program, training program?
It's not a particular training program. It's just training like we always do, where somebody comes to us and says, I want to do something, and then we fund it with that money.
So it's just going into the general training pot.
Correct. And the thing about it is the only eligibility is what was in that definition I just showed.
Uh-huh.
So it's not like the WIOA money that says dislocated workers and then has, about this much text about what makes you a dislocated worker. That money, what I just showed, and I can pop the definition back up, I think.
No, that's okay.
But, the bottom line is there's not all of the federal, requirements on it. So we think, it gives us another opportunity to meet with somebody who's coming in and say, hey, you fit in the Relief Act money. You don't fit in WIOA or this one or that one or the other one, but you fit there. So let's get you in there and get you trained.
Any further discussion? We have a motion from Tyler. Can we have a second, please?
I second.
All those in favor, aye, please.
I
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So moved, Dan.
Okay, thank you. And the next item is going to be Joanne talking about the Division of Rehabilitation contract. And let's see if I can find that one. Here it is. So
Has
Joanne,
anybody not printed it out that they can't read the information from Dan?
No, I printed it out. Yeah.
Okay.
okay, Joanne, it's all you.
Okay, so I just want to take a second and go over this and tell you what it is before we ask for it, because there's some changes this year from what we normally do. Thanks, Dan. The summer program this year, typically we do face-to-face the entire program. We have the PREETs, which is the Pre-Employment Transitional Youth Services. We call them PREETs, that are referred to us by DOORS. We represent all 5 counties. That is still what we're going to be doing. However, normally they go out in the field and they work for 5 or 6 weeks, and we pay them for paid internships. This year, we're going to be doing a split program, a hybrid program. We're going to be doing 5 weeks on a virtual job shadowing program platform to get them to understand different jobs, do a little bit of career exploration. With the staff is going to be helping with that. And there's going to be 1 week of paid internship where they'll actually go out. The program will start after 4th of July. I think it's like the 5th or 6th, whatever that Monday or Tuesday is after the 4th of July. And it will go for 5 weeks. And after that, we will do the paid internship so that there will be more time for things to try to get back to normal. Dan, you can switch. Thank you. Okay, so the DOORS portion of the program, the beginning part is going, thank you, George. The beginning part is going to be out of the relief money that Dan's talked about. We have state money, we have summer youth money. So we have the first 5 weeks covered. DOORS is the portion they're going to be helping us with, that they can help us with, is the paid internship piece, which we're going to have 50 PREETs. We have some that are in the year-round program. They're going to be carried into the summer program along with new ones that will be referred to us by DOORS. They're going to get $11.75 per hour, which is the minimum wage, 6 hours per day, 5 days of internship. So they'll have 1 week, and it will also include the daily staff interaction with each youth. So every day a staff member will go to wherever the site is that the youth is working to check on them, make sure things are okay. So that's what the summer program is going to be this year. And so what I'm asking is for approval to accept a $26,984 from DOORS for the youth contract for the paid internship portion of the summer youth program. That's what we're requesting.
Any discussion or questions?
I have a
No.
question.
Go ahead.
So Joanne, can you tell me a little bit about, like, this is a week of paid as opposed to 6 weeks of paid last time?
Yeah, they're going to still be paid. They can still get funding through like the Relief Act in those programs for the career exploration piece. But the way Doors is set up for their program, they can only pay when they're actually out in the field. So we'll be using our funds to pay the 5 weeks. The youth will still be paid for those 5 weeks when they're in, but the Doors is only going to be covering the 1 week where they're out, because that's the way theirs is written. That's how it's required.
That's what I didn't understand.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm
they're
sorry.
still
Yeah,
getting
no,
paid for the same amount.
they're getting paid for the same
not over.
amount. It's just we're going to be using our funds or the Relief Act, different funds to cover the other 5 weeks.
Perfect. I was like, wait a second, who wants to only do, like, I didn't think you would get any takers on that if you only paid them for a week.
Nah, they're getting it the whole time.
Okay.
I'm just using Doors money for that. I'm sorry.
Any further questions?
Yeah, just a quick one. What kind of jobs are they shadowing?
That depends on during their career exploration.
I'm sorry, what does that mean?
When they're in their 5 weeks where they're doing the job shadowing, and there's going to be some interest inventory type things where we find out what they're interested in. And at that point, during that 5 times, that's when they'll be doing on the virtual job shadowing platform. We'll find out what they like, and then we'll do a match with the jobs in the area.
Okay,
So if somebody likes vet assistant, we'll find a vet to let them work with.
okay, and you have contacts so you can sort of satisfy whatever they want?
Oh, yeah. We've been doing this for years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just one
Any further questions?
more question. I saw an executive order was signed today about raising the national minimum wage to $15 an hour. I don't know if that affects us here or if it doesn't. I'm just raising the question from a budgetary standpoint.
Dan, you want to take that one?
I think if it's an executive order, then that's got to be tied to, I don't know if it affects us. I'll have to find out, but.
Yeah, could you please, I don't know the parameters of it. I just saw it was signed and it may not affect us. I just think that we need to know that.
It only affects federal contractors.
Okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was going to drive at, but I didn't see it. So, but if so, we would just have to lean more, if out of the blue we get surprised by that, we would just have to mix and match more of the other money.
I don't think there'll be a surprise, Dan. It definitely is only federal contractors. So unless you have a kid doing something with a federal contractor, it's not going to have an impact.
Right. And we, every year we've had to up the, because Maryland's on a trajectory to get to $15 an hour. So every summer we have stepped it up for the last 3 years or whatever. So, but that, thanks for the tip, because we will, we'll do a little digging to make sure, that we're okay, and know where, if we could somehow, we'll stay out of trouble.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions?
Nope.
Can I have a motion on approving the contract?
I move we approve the contract.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? So carried. Thank you, Con.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. The next one is the one-stop operator. So we have to, I want to get this started. Okay. I want to make sure everybody understands that we went out for did an RFP for a one-stop operator simply because the contract is over, and it, was nothing to do with the quality of work. In the request for proposals, here's what we did. We put it together, we sent it out, we released it March 12th, and we released it by email, putting it on Facebook and advertising it in the Star Democrat. Had a pre-bid meeting March 22nd where people could ask questions about the RFP. What did you mean by this and this? and the bids were due April 6th. We had an ad hoc committee of Connie Overington, Susan Coppage, Tom Timberman. What we're looking at is 2 years, 2021, July 1 to June 30th, 2023, with an option for an additional year. We had that same thing in the last contract, which was really good because right when we would have needed, right in this time frame last year was when we were shutting down and locking down. So it was great that we could just go ahead and do an option year. So that comes in handy. So the one-stop operator role that we RFP'd are really these, 4 categories of things: facilitating collaboration and cooperation, and that's by, having the quarterly meetings, sharing information. You all see some of that if you're subscribed or on the email list from the current one-stop operator. The one-stop operator also convenes the professional development committee and plans and implements professional development opportunities for the American Job Center staff and stakeholders, friends, chambers of commerce, others. So that's another part. Validate commitment to the Memorandum of Understanding and Resource Sharing Agreement. What they do there is make sure that there aren't any changes in what we agree to in the Memorandum of Understanding and Resource Sharing Agreement. For instance, if the one-stop operator noticed that Joanne never had staff, said she was going to have staff in Caroline County 2 days a week, but over some period of time, they weren't showing up. There was no one there. So it's like, what's the deal? What's going on? Why aren't those people over there? So, and then finally, this is key: collect and report data to the WIB. I purely put in that they would gather data from the partners about how many people got a job, kept a job, and how much money did they make. So, this was something that we've tried to get a handle on, and I finally just said, we want that data. If that data isn't enough or we have trouble getting it or whatever, then we can talk about, is there some other data is there something else? But I purely just took the 3 Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act performance standards that everyone's under. And some of us have more than that, but that's what everyone has. So I put that as some data that they need to gather and report to you all as the board. We had 3 proposals that we received. We got something from Hightower Workforce Initiatives out of Lexington, Kentucky. We got a bid from Parker Consulting, who's our existing one-stop operator. And we got a proposal from Project Now out of Alexandria, Virginia. So the subcommittee or the ad hoc committee reviewed all 3. And the recommendation is to stick with Parker Consulting. First year is $42,000. Everyone felt like that was the best proposal. And so that's how we got to where we are today.
Dan, is it open for the 3rd year price wise, or is it just half of the 42?
Well, that would be negotiation in year 3. Would be, okay, we want to do an option year, and, what would it, you can have some negotiation in the option year.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was
so-
my question. Any other questions?
Yeah, Dan, what are we paying Parker Consulting now?
41, something like that.
Okay.
And Michael, this is kind of interesting. The first year we bid this out, back and it was KRA or whatever who got the job. I just took 3% of our budget, because I was I actually kind of messed up because I took 3% based on that deal where if you can't come to an agreement on the RSA, the governor can make you put in our case, 3%. So the Department of Labor did a desk audit of our procurement. And they were like, how did you come up with the money? And I said, well, 3% of our budget. And they went, oh, it's apples and oranges, but that's fine. Good for you. So I don't know, but that's how I came up with the 42,000 here. And we're paying a little bit less now, but not, we're not paying it 41 and change, something like that. So it's very close.
And how do we pay them now? Is it monthly?
Monthly. They submit an invoice and a report monthly. And that I try to remember to send those reports out to you. I take their email, send you all the report, and then I process the invoice. And I also, I attend probably 98% of the quarterly, of the, county meetings and all. I've missed a couple, but that's very rare to make sure, I know what's going on. So.
Dan, is the 42,000 all they get, or do we reimburse for any kind of expenses they might have?
No, this is it.
Wow.
This is it. This is what, this is 100% of what they get.
Dan, what were the other two numbers, just out of curiosity? Were they
The
higher?
same.
You don't have to
They were
tell
all
me the
the
number.
same.
Were they higher
All
or
the
lower?
same.
Yeah, they were all the same. And the only, when I thought about it, we put in there that we had this much money. And, you think, oh, wait, maybe somebody will come in at 35. What was more interesting was we had a budget sheet and how they budgeted, how they budgeted the money out, with meetings and, all that was pretty interesting. There was one of the ones who wasn't local had a lot of travel, which is no big deal. But that's when we went, oh, wait, they're kind of far away,
Yes.
I will move acceptance of the ad hoc committee's recommendation for Parker.
I second.
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Well, darn it. Now we're back to Joanne doing a presentation, which means Joanne's great, but now that means I got to try to figure out how to make this work. So now we're doing temporary services. Okay.
Like that quiet time where it's like you talk to your neighbors quietly.
Yeah, you can't speak quietly with your neighbor because they're not here. Okay, here we go.
All righty. Okay, so just as we did with the one-stop operator, it was time to procure for the WIB temporary service needs, which is what we did. This is what this person is. It's the employer of record for all of our temporary staff, consultants or anything like that. It's the employer of record for the youth participating in the work experience, like the summer program. They all are technically employees of the temporary service person, and also the record employer of record for anybody that's in adult dislocated, any of the WIOA programs and work experience or internship. So that's what it's for. We again had the request for proposals were released on March 21st. The pre-bid meeting was March 31st, where they could ask questions. The proposal was due on April 9th, and the recommendation is going to you tonight for who we've chosen. There was 5 proposals that were received, which is Abacus, which is our current, All Pro Placement, Divine Professional, Disc Ritter Business, I couldn't say it, so, and Galaxy Consulting. That's not the only thing we look at, but one of the things we look up is how much are they going to be, what percentage are they going to be, what percentage are they going, he's just messing with me, I know that. What percentage are they going to be marking up? You can see that 4 of them were kind of reasonable, and then there was 179%. So for every dollar, we're going to pay $179 more. I mean, $179 for each check. So yeah, that one. But when we went through and read everything and looked at everything, our recommendation is for Abacus, who is the current one. They have the lowest, and our and our temporary employment service beginning July 1st through the June 30th with an optional additional year.
Any problems with them?
No, they are very easy to work with, especially during the COVID. We screenshot and snap pictures and text them pictures of things. I mean, they don't even have to be scanned. They'll take pictures or anything of timesheets and things. They're extremely easy to work with and very professional.
Are they local?
They are across the bridge. They're in the state of Maryland. They're not on the Eastern Shore, but they're across the bridge.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion?
I make a recommendation that we go with Abacus Corporation for July 21 to June 23 with the option to renew 1 year.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay.
Here comes the tricky part.
Yeah, back to me. Now one more, George, before I try to leave.
Right.
So the way we've done the budget for the last several years, because I've always struggled with how to present this wacky budget that we have with private money and public money and state money and on and on. So a few years ago, we came up with this idea of talking in April about budget assumptions and then in May doing the line item budget based on the budget assumptions. So here's kind of where I've been trying to go with the budget going into the next couple of years. The first thing we want to do, and in a minute, I'll put up a spreadsheet that shows why. I want to use the WIOA formula funds that we're going to bring, that we'll get on July 1st for our human resources, infrastructure, administration, and training. So we're going to, continue to fund our operation out of the WIOA formula. And then we're going to use non-WIOA funds, almost exclusively for training. So like a minute ago, when you all approved that Relief Act, there's only 3 categories in that money: training, support, and the administrative money that we need to, pay overhead and audit and stuff like that. But whenever we brought in these new amounts of money from other sources other than formula, we've put it almost exclusively into training services. So that overall we're able to train more people and focusing our WIOA formula on our operation. So that's something. And then expend the funds that are closest to expiration. If you're in accounting, we're talking about FIFOing. First money in is the first money out, and a lot of our money dies on a certain date. So we want to spend that money, before it dies. So we might have some new money just sit for a while so we can get the old money out. And then obviously we can carry over WIOA formula funds. So we want to do that whenever, that arises. So here's kind of where things stood on April 20th when I looked at things. This is all the funding that we had on that given day. And so, that's kind of where, where things stood on April 20th. So if you look at this column, on June 30th, 2021, we have no money that's expiring because we've already spent that money. We did FIFO, we spent that money first. So that money's all, already gone. The next time that we have to worry about something is the 30th of September, where we have $163,000 that we'll needed to have spent by then. And some of that is, this summer money. So we got to spend that in the summer and all that. Some of it is some supplemental nutrition training money that we need to spend. By December 31st, we need to spend $109,000 of a National Dislocated Worker grant the state received. So we've got to get that in play and get that spent. So again, FIFOing. By 6/30/2022, we need to have spent out our National Dislocated Worker Grant, the Relief Act money, and this is the formula money that we got that has a 2-year life. So we got it on July 1st, 20. It's got to be spent by 6/30/2022. So this is going to be, where we really have to focus spending out this, in these two cases, sort of not formula money, and then as well as the formula, keeping in mind that we're going to receive another injection of formula money on July 1st, 2021, that'll go out to 2023. So, then we've got this to spend out, and then going all the way out to 5/31/2024, we've got the $80,000 of money for those impacted by the opioid crisis. So the whole idea then, again, is to, kind of do our operation out of this money, the WIOA formula, while spending these non-WIOA dollars before they expire. So basically, this is kind of a, money visual representation. And what we'll do, next month is come back to you with where all this money is in a line item budget, training, people, training, rent, whatever. But this is sort of the strategy that we want to employ, and it's because, we were successful getting this other money. In years past, our budget has basically been just this WIOA section down here. But now all this, everything, all this is new money that has an expiration date. And there's some of these, things like this money here, and this money here. There's going to be more money coming in over the next 2 years. So this is just a snapshot of where we were on the 20th of April. And that's why I want to go with this idea of, paying for our operation with the formula money and spending out all this other money before it dies. So that's kind of where
As an
I got that.
economist, Dan, do you call this first to expire, first out?
Yeah, that would be a better way to say, instead of first in, first out, it's first, newest expiration date.
Right.
This column here, we've got to get, first in, first expire, first out. So we're going to be concentrating on this in the near term. And then, by Christmas, this has got to be gone, and we got to be doing some serious stuff here. We are on the cusp right now. In the next couple of weeks, as Chesapeake College starts some new programs, we will exceed the number of people we trained last year, this year, when the college, has been proceeding very carefully. So as things reopen, kind of from a staff point of view, we're looking at, when the state reopens, we're kind of viewing that the same way we viewed when there was a big layoff and they said, we're going to close our plant or lay people off on this date. And that's going to be kind of when we push and go, we've got all these people, we need to get them in training, fill up the classes that are available, and then ask for other classes to be put together just, for our folks so that they can, get the training. Right now, Joanne and the rest of the staff are working on identifying who's serious about training. We have 400 and some people who've said they want to go to school, but we know that we aren't going to see 400 people, but we want to get to where, who's real and who isn't, and then, go from there. So that's kind of the, budget philosophy.
Any discussion or questions on the assumptions the staff and the rationale the staff is going to use to present the budget?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Dan, how does this affect the carryover?
Well, the thing is the carry-in, we think just looking at that, we're going to expend the adult and youth money, and we're going to carry in some dislocated worker money. So that's going to be that. The challenge will be spending out the carry-in dislocated worker money, because it'll have to be spent out by June 30th, 2022. But I think if we focus that money on, personnel and, our operation, then we'll expend that and not have any recapture. So, but dislocated worker is something we're worried about. And we're worried about it because the National Dislocated Worker Grant the state got, the National Dislocated Worker Grant that we got, and our formula dislocated worker money. And I don't know, is opioid dislocated worker, Joanne? No. Okay.
No, it has
But
different.
we got a lot of dislocated worker money. So, we're gonna, it's gonna be a challenge. But I think if we concentrate that money on staff, the one-stop operator, paying our rent in the American Job Centers and all that, then we'll be able to expend the carry-in and expend all of the, new money we brought in, and, as we spend out those special grants, then it's going to put pressure back on our formula money. But I don't see that happening until the year that starts on July 1st, 22 and goes to June 30th, 23.
Okay. The other, excuse me, the other question that I have, Dan, very briefly, is I know the carry-in money generally goes up and down. I think what I'm puzzled with is with all of the grant money and the ACT money, it would seem to me it would increase substantially. Or is that wrong?
Well, actually, the formula allocations came out this afternoon, and Maryland's taking a 10% cut across adult, dislocated worker, and youth.
Okay.
10% in each one. I noticed Delaware is going to go up by 30% because the formula is relative.
Yes.
Things in Maryland are better than they are in Nevada and, other places. So, and keep in mind, all the money that I showed a minute ago that was, this National Dislocated Worker Grant, that and all that, none of that's CARES Act money. On the federal level, we have received no formula money. We haven't been included in CARES Act 1, 2, 3, or 4. The only relief we've been in is the Relief Act, which is a state grant. So we have not gotten any CARES money at all. And in fact, the National Dislocated Worker Grants are out of that formula allocation that's held back at the federal level. So we're operating, that's all. There isn't any CARES money out there for us yet, or maybe there never will be. Certainly people in our line of work are very interested in this infrastructure discussion.
Yes.
Because, we all know that there aren't people to do those jobs. We can go, okay, we're finally going to put that big intersection at Chesapeake College with a bridge and, on and off ramp. But who's going to build it? Who's got those skills? And so, we in our line of work would hope there would be some training money in the infrastructure bill. But, at this point, we have not seen any relief there. And in fact, our formula money most likely will go down. When we budget that, it's going to be lower. But because we have all this other money, it's almost a good thing. I mean, I can't believe I just said that, but it's almost a good thing for us to if we're going to lose any money, losing dislocated worker money would be okay, because we've got a bunch of other dislocated worker money that we, got to spend first anyway. So that's probably a longer winded answer And I don't know, if you talk long enough, you probably answered the question.
Well, any other questions on the assumptions and rationale the staff wants to use for the budget?
George, a couple of comments. One, your comment, George, it's actually is a first in, first out, because if we have formula funds for youth or adult for 200,000 in 21 and another 200,000 in 22, it's not green dollars and red dollars. They're all green dollars. So we simply report back obligations. And so that is a first in, first out. And then, Dan, I assume that if we were dealing with too much money in any one of the formula categories, clearly we have the authority to move youth to adult to dislocated worker and so forth. So we've got a lot of flexibility in moving these monies around.
Yeah, and usually we do that in February. Almost every February for the last several years, I've come to you all and said, can we, transfer, or, can we shift? We don't transfer money, we shift expenditures. We get that approved and we do that. But this year we didn't have to because we had so much, because
Money.
and when you look at, like, when I had that slide up, and I had the SNAP money, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which, commonly known as food stamps. Many of our adult participants are eligible because they're receiving food stamps. So now we can use the SNAP money for them, and then, use adult money for others. So everything kind of works together. And then from a program side, we co-enroll people. We may pay for them out of SNAP, but we enroll them in adult. And that's why it looks very odd right now. I think Joanne has 93 people in the adult program, and we had $240,000 to start the year.
Huh.
So, it's an indication that we're able to use other people. So that's kind of, where things are. But, it's a challenge we've never had before, but it's a good challenge to have. And I always have to say, the reason we're able to do the training we're doing is because Chesapeake College was willing to take some risks, calculated, well thought out risks, and open training face to face during the height of the pandemic. And, we appreciate that. And we really appreciate, and I know Dr. Coppersmith appreciates this too, no one got sick, or, we didn't have any, we were lucky. But we appreciate it, because without the relationship we have, we wouldn't have been able to get where we are. And, in the end, the bottom line is, every time we talk about spending money, we're spending it on people who want to invest in human capital and better their lives. So, that's what we're really doing. And we appreciate the college being willing to, step off the diving board with us and do what we did. So I appreciate that, Dr. Coppersmith.
Well, Dan, I appreciate your comments, but I will say this. I would take issue with the use of the word luck. We were very careful, and we kept track of things, and we met at least twice a week and kept track of standards and guidelines, and we had our own expert advice internally with our health professions program. And I felt reasonably assured that we took a reasonable risk in line with what we were doing to make sure people were protected. We did have positive tests here and there, but they were all from people exposed at work or at home. We did not have any exposure on campus. So I think that's a testament to the guidelines. Wear your damn mask, keep your distance, get your vaccination. Those are the three things I'd leave with you this evening.
Yeah, as soon as I said luck, I was like, oh, I wish I could reel that back in. Because I was in on a lot of those meetings, and I was very impressed with the level of thought that went into every decision. And nothing was just like, oh, let's just do this. It was well thought out by some pretty impressive people. So sorry about the luck part, but we appreciate what you did.
Hey, well, thank you too, Dr. Coppersmith. Okay, any further questions?